Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tatiana. I'm a business coach and mentor for women wanting to start their own businesses. I love talking about email list building. I mean, what can I say? It is nothing like having your own golden list of people, your tribe, those that are interested in what you have to say, what you have to offer, what you're talking about. And so if you missed the first part of this, I actually went live a few days ago talking all about how to create a valuable opt-in. And what is so important about having an opt-in is that it is just another layer of building trust with your audience. So definitely make sure you check out that part 1 video, but just in case you didn't and you're kind of just wondering like, okay, what's this thing about an opt-in? So an opt-in is pretty much going to be that thing that's going to take someone from just simply just being a observer of what you have going on to taking a bit of some action and getting on your email list. An opt-in could be something as simple as a PDF guide or a worksheet, a mini workbook. Some people do small ebooks. It could be whatever you want to give your audience based on what it is that you have to say. And the big word of this is value. So what is the value? What's going to help them get that quick win, take them from point A to point B? We talk a lot about that within that first part of this in that live that I did. So make sure you check that out. And then once you have that created and designed and ready to go, we're going to talk about part 2 today, which is all about how to build it out, how to make it happen. Now, I'm going to be getting a little more comfortable and showing y'all how to build out this exact thing on Flodesk, which is my favorite email platform of choice. I've been using it for some time now. But before we do that, I wanted to just explain a little bit more about how we are going to create this customer journey. So anytime someone interacts with your brand, they are going to either have one or two things happen. They're going to be like, okay, I'm in the right place. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm going to keep following along. Or they are going to be like, yeah, this is not for me. But the thing that's good about that is you want them to be able to know off rip, like, okay, is this brand something that I need to stick around for? Does this person have something important that I need to hear? What types of things are they talking about? What is some of the things that they've been talking about in the past? You know, that's where that scrolling comes in, seeing what you've already done. So really look at your things that you've posted prior to as your portfolio in a sense, or as you are creating things now. Look at it at when you are thinking of someone that is coming across your brand for the first time. What are they thinking when they see it? And do they feel like they're in the right place? This all is going to speak to the pain points and the foundation that you've created for your business. And if you haven't built out your foundation already, definitely make sure you check out the video right here. I'll link it in the cards. It's going to be all about taking your ideas, everything you want to do for your business, and turning it into what I call the foundation. This is going to be the who, the what, and the why of your business, which is such an important step even before we get to where we are right now of building your email list. Once you know that, and your brand is speaking that, people are seeing that through your content, naturally they may want to take a next step. And this is where your opt-in is going to come in. You want the opt-in to be something where people can pretty much make immediate action. They don't need to really decide if it's for them or not. It's free, and it's a way for you to provide something in exchange for them getting on your email list. So I think I'm actually going to pause here also and let you know that I do have a email list building checklist that I created just for you. Definitely click the link down below in the description if you are wanting to just get some starting in this journey of growing your list and you're not quite sure what you should have ready, what you need to know. Definitely make sure you grab that checklist down in the description. So your funnel is going to take people from now they've made the decision, they've signed up for the list, they're on there, you've delivered your freebie, to, okay, I'm going to learn a little bit more about this person, about their business, and even more so a little bit more about the pain point that I'm having for why I signed up in the first place. Because as I've mentioned before, your freebie or your opt-in, whatever you want to call it, the lingo, there's all kinds of words you can call it, it should speak to a specific pain point and a specific person. So for this particular situation, especially if this is a brand new email list, you're trying to start it from zero, I would say creating a customer journey or a funnel of about 3 to 5 emails is pretty good. This will give you enough time to speak to the pain point as well as introduce yourself, who you are, and create a little bit of an urgency or a call to action towards the end. So the biggest thing I would say is to plan this out. Really sit down and think about, okay, what do I want this person to do during this journey? What is the ultimate goal that I want to achieve by the end of this? So if that is for them to purchase something at the end, it might be for them to join a community you have. It might be for them to simply just subscribe or follow along on your social platforms. It could be signing up for maybe another freebie you have. There's so many different calls to action. So knowing what that is that you want them to reach by the end of this email sequence, workflow, funnel, whatever you want to call it. I interchange those words, so just want to make sure I'm saying that. Whatever you want them to do by the end of it, it's important to have that as top of mind in the beginning, so it's easy for them to work through that. So let's go ahead and dive into that. I'm going to actually get a little bit more comfortable and show y'all how to start building this out in Flodesk, and then I'll come back with some last things. So basically, we are going to go into Flodesk right now, and Flodesk is my email platform that I've been using for the last almost three and a half years now. What I really love about it is that it's just super user-friendly. It's very beautiful looking, but minimal. And before I do get into this, I wanted to mention I do have a 50% off coupon that actually gets you 50% off of the monthly cost for Flodesk. So if you are interested, make sure you click on my little link down below. And yeah, I love it though. I've been using it for a while, and so I'm excited to share this in this tutorial with you all. So the main thing here, there's just some very simple tabs. We're going to be focusing today on 3 of them. We're going to be focusing on audience, workflows, and forms. So I'm actually going to start with audience because the first thing I want to do is I want to create a segment. So segments, basically just think of this as like little buckets. These are the places where people are going to go based on how they got on your email list. So I have a ton of different segments for mine, for example. So as you can see, there's a lot of different ways people can get on my email list. If I just click on different pages, you can see I have a ton of different buckets of different people. The next thing that you want to do is to go and create a new segment. You can make it whatever color you want to make it. I'm going to make this one this pretty little lavender color, and I'm going to call this one email building checklist. Let's call it that. Save it. And this is a crucial step because this is what's going to connect the group of people to the form you create, as well as the workflow that we're going to create. So we're going to go over to forms. That's our next thing we're going to do. And I'm going to create a new form. So the form, you all have seen this before. Your form is basically how people get this freebie, get the opt-in that you're creating. So I'm going to be creating a full page form, but what's nice about Flodesk, you can also do pop-ups as well as inline, so it could literally appear right within a web page. So you can decide what makes the most sense for what you're doing. I'm going to use a full page one. The full page one comes with its own URL, which is really nice. And with that URL, what it allows you to do is to then share that link out to anyone. So they have a ton of templates you can actually start with, but you can change all of the colors and all of those different things like that. So I'm just going to go with a simple one. I do like to pick one that has the option to do the image. So we're just going to go with this one right here. Hit customize it. And then this is where you choose that segment that we created. So the one we're going to be using is the email building checklist. And now here we go. So you can change all of this stuff. I'm going to make the background white. All of the fonts can be changed in here as well. So this says, let's get creative. I'm actually going to change this, and I'm literally creating the funnel that if you decide to sign up for the freebie that comes along with this video, the email building checklist, you will see this form and everything that I'm building out within this video. So we're going to go over to here, and if you want, you can change the fonts, and I'm actually going to change it to my brand colors. You can add your brand colors in here, which is nice. You don't have to try to remember the codes. They're already saved for me down here. And then I'm going to actually say, let's build per list. And then over here, you can put a little blurb about what you wanted to say. So I'm going to type that in really quickly. Okay, so I quickly just created a graphic that I'm going to add in here. But yes, this is the graphic. I might change it up a little bit, but this just for the sake of our tutorial. So then down here, first name, email address is pretty standard. You can add other fields if you want to know other things. So you can always add that in. And then from there, you want to just switch up the button if you don't like it. I usually will round the button, and I'll make it a orange color. That's kind of my brand color for my buttons. I do orange, and then I'm just gonna do this white color. Well, it's like an orangey color. Okay, so that part is done. So now we can go through this. It will actually ask you as well, you know, do you want to show this image on mobile or not? So you can click yes or no. You can preview if you want to what it would look like on mobile. Here's what it looks like with the image if you're curious. So sometimes it is cut off, so keep that in mind, but that actually does not look too bad. You go back to editing, and then you can also choose different things, like if you want them to, once they hit the button, what happens after that. So they just hit a thank you for subscribing. Typically I'll do a custom message and say something like, hey, don't forget to check your inbox to get the freebie, check your spam folder. I'll say things like that. So decide if you want it to be custom or if you want it to be one of these pre-done ones, and then pretty much we're ready to go to the next step. Double opt-in just basically means, do you want them to have to confirm it on your list? So if you don't want people to be wondering that, I would say go ahead and check it. It's basically just going to have them confirm that they want to sign up. And then from there, you can have, if you want to be notified when people sign up, I think this is definitely cool if you want to, like when people are first signed up, you just want to know like people are on there, they're loving it. But after a while, it can get to be a lot. So I usually say don't notify me, but you can have it tell you every single time someone signs up. And then the last thing is, after they sign up, what do you want to happen? Do you want them to go to some type of web page or a video you filmed or whatever the case is? Or do you just want it to display the success message, which is basically something simple like, you know, check your inbox basically. For this, we're just going to do the success message. And that's pretty much it. So from there, this is the link that you would share out for people to actually get on the list at that point. So once you have that, you are halfway there, because now we need to actually create the part that's going to happen when they get the email. We don't need to do anything any further, so I'm going to go back to the home page, and now we're going to go to workflows. And as you can see, here's our form that we created, so we're good. You can always click these three little buttons and get that link anytime you need it right here. So that didn't go anywhere. And then we're going to go to workflows. So workflows essentially is your customer journey, and your customer journey is what is going to take people from, okay, I just signed up to get this freebie, to possibly some type of action that you want them to take. So we are going to build a brand new workflow from the beginning. I have a ton of them on here. I use them all the time. And a workflow essentially is going to be a series of emails that people are going to get from you over a period of time, typically a week, 2 weeks at the most. And it's going to be a follow-up to the freebie that they signed up for. So they already have a ton of really nice templates to get started with, or you can start from scratch. I think I'm actually going to start with this welcome sequence one, and we can always change things later. So we'll customize it. And this is kind of the back end of this. So the trigger is the segment. The trigger is that form. So we added them to the email building checklist segment. So now that's going to be our trigger. That's what's going to tell Flodesk, hey, this person signed up on that form. They're interested in the email checklist. Let's get them into this workflow. So it's important that you choose the segment, and it will say begin this workflow when, and you'll want to say when the person is added to this segment, and there's the segment. So it's the email building checklist. So now anytime someone gets added to this segment via the form, or if I manually add them, they will automatically get added to what we're setting up in here. This can be as many emails as you want. I usually would say anywhere from 3 to 5 emails is pretty good for this kind of welcome sequence, especially if it's your first one. You don't want to overwhelm people, but you do want to kind of check in with them a couple times and give them a little education on who you are, what you know, and a deeper dive into what they signed up for as well. That's what we're going to be building out. I'm not going to write them out in their entirety here, but you'll get definitely an idea of what you need to do. So here's our first email, and I'm going to go ahead and edit that. So the very first email is always going to be the freebie right to their inbox. So you can pretty much put whatever you want in here. So I'm going to go ahead and design this one. Now I would suggest for the actual emails themselves, I would write those outside of Flodesk just so you can make sure all the grammar and the punctuation and everything is good. So I usually do that in Google Drive. So we'll do that here in a minute. So all I put here is just, hey, it's here. I'm going to switch this to Helvetica. Y'all know I like Helvetica. You know, it's kind of corny, but you want people to be excited about what they signed up for. So I'm actually going to switch this. This is what they call layouts. You can switch this to whatever you want. They have a lot of them already pre-built over here for you. There's this one I like to use for my freebies. So I'm going to try to find that one. I'm going to click on this and now we can edit it. So I'm going to add that same image again that I added from the form. And it may look a little bit different if you signed up, but y'all get the point. So this is where you put the graphic there. And then if you want to say any additional words, you can. If you want them to go anywhere else, you can. I typically like to just leave it pretty much to the point. You can connect Instagram to here, which is also nice. Something simple. I'll probably go in and make some changes and judge this up a little bit, but you get the point. So after you do that, you can finish it. It's going to take you back out to all of those different emails. This is where you can change the subject of the email. Typically, I'll just say something like, yay. And then the preview text is just that little piece of text that they can get in there. So you can definitely add something in there if you'd like. Also, make sure your email is correct, that it's coming from the right place. When you set up the account, it will just default to the email you set the account up with. So if you want it to be your business email, just make sure you have that in there. Now you can do your time delays. With the time delay, the biggest thing is I usually would like to send something the next day. So I'm going to switch that to 1 day. Okay, so this is actually over in Google Drive where I do all my emails. I have a whole folder just for emails. I already actually created the doc for it. It's just called Email Building Funnel. The biggest tip I would give for writing emails, always figure out what is your subject line, what is going to kind of be the thing that makes people want to open the email, and then what is the point of the email. So I think this is a really good idea before you just sit down and you start writing anything out. Think about like, okay, what do I want to articulate in this? What is the goal of this email? There's going to be a total of 4 emails within this particular funnel that I'm building out. So you can label it for however many you want to do. Again, I think 3 to 5 is pretty good. The point, I don't know my subject line. I'll come back to that. This is going to be for actually email number 2. Email number 1 is the one we just did. Email number 2 is going to be something kind of taking things to the next level. So I really think email number 2 should always speak to the pain point further. So kind of like dive into the pain point a bit more and ask a question. So anytime you can, always, let me put a question mark. Anytime you can, always ask the people on your email list questions. Get them to engage, and you will be surprised people actually do respond. So somewhere in there, you want to ask them a question that's engaging to the pain point. And then the subject line can definitely be something that's just very catching, makes them want to get it. Okay, so I just put someone is waiting for you. I don't know, y'all. It might be kind of creepy, but something like that. You want people to be like, oh, what are you talking about? So they can click on it. Not to be clickbaity. You want the subject to make sense when they get in there. If I was using this as a subject line, it would be something along the lines of, someone's waiting for you, meaning there are people out there that are waiting for this opt-in that you're about to create. Don't just let it fall by the wayside. Make sure you do it. Make sure you follow through. Another thing you could do is if you wanted to create a condition, you could actually say like, okay, yes, if someone opened the email, they get these emails. If someone doesn't, then this happens. So that's an option you can build out as well. For this one, we're just going to keep it really simple. So then we would move into email number 2. So you can see we're moving down the pipeline. You would write that email out and then you would basically paste everything in there. So I'm just going to open this one up to give you a feel. Again, you have your subject and your preview text that you can write in there. And then you can just do this however you'd like. Of course, format the email to what makes sense for you. You can put your logo up there. You don't have to. A lot of times my emails are a lot more just text-based. So I usually will remove a lot of this stuff and just keep it just pretty much text focused, just because it has a little bit of a better deliverability rate. Doesn't tend to go to spam as much when there's like not a ton of pictures and things like that. And then we're going to transition off of me sharing my screen and I'll talk about the other parts. Okay, so as you saw, it's actually pretty simple to set it up in Flodesk. The biggest part, and I feel like the most time consuming, is really writing the emails. And that is just kind of how it goes, right? Taking the time to figure out what you want to say, how you want to say it, how many emails you want to have. So I wanted to continue to explain to you what those emails are going to be. So email number 1, that was delivering the freebie, getting it to the person automatically right after they sign up. Email number 2 is going to dive a little bit deeper into the pain point. So for this particular pain point, it is, okay, I have no idea where to get started with building an email list. I know I want to do it, but I don't know. I want to grow my business, but I don't know what to do. So that's kind of what the pain point is of this overall checklist, the email building checklist. So now what I'm going to want to speak a little bit more about is, okay, the importance of having an email list. I like to reinforce again, hey, this is why this is important. This is why you need to take this action. Here are a couple of things I suggest or a bit of encouragement, and then kind of close it out with a question. So as I mentioned in the Flodesk tutorial, you want to ask a question. The question could be anything that is engaging and will make them want to respond. It could just be simply asking about them, wanting to get to know them more. It doesn't have to be about the pain point, but it would be helpful it's about the pain point, because that's going to help you a lot more with creating things down the line for people. A great question I would ask, for example, within this might be, what has been the biggest thing holding you back from building an email list? And I'll even say, please respond, I'll respond back to you, or something like that. And people will respond. So definitely ask the questions, get the engagement. And this is also just going to start building that connection and that trust with your audience, which is what you want. This is the overall goal, and the purpose of this is to continue building the trust. So then email number 3 is going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into now what I can do for you. What is my expertise? What does my business bring to the table? So this is a chance for you to, in a sense, not really pitch yourself, but more so let the person know, like, hey, you're in the right place. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad you're on my list. Here's some of the different things that I talk about. This is some of the value that I bring. This is some of the ways that products that I've created have helped other people. Things like that. You want to really, again, and I talk to my clients about this all the time, you really want to make sure you're focusing on what I call the value selling topics. So things that will speak to your struggles of your audience. Not so much like, hey, come buy something from me. We're not quite there yet, but we're just kind of explaining, like, this is what this business is all about. Lots of different things you could do with this. So once you do that, you kind of explain the mission, or you give them even more value, which you want to always give value. The 4th and final email within this particular workflow, for me and just for you, your final one should be some type of call to action, or if you've already done the call to action, like a reminder or a follow-up or whatever it may be. I will say again, if you are trying to get people to purchase at the end and you are still really new and really trying to build things up, I would even extend it to 5 or even 6 emails, just to give some more time to really prime your audience and really nurture them. You don't want to just throw a sale as the first thing. So just keep that in mind. And then from there, it's really up to you what you do. You can definitely follow up with people on a regular basis. If you want to send out a weekly email or bi-weekly, whatever the case is, I always say, never just sell. I think that turns people off all the time. I'm not going to name any specific businesses, but there are those ones we get, and it just feels very spammy. It feels very just, hey, we got a sale today, 40% off, 60% off, like all the time. And I know I personally never want my emails to come off that way. So if I'm constantly providing value to people, it's a lot easier to then lead into, okay, now I'm in launch mode. They're going to get a couple more emails than they normally do from me. There will be a little bit more direct call to action, but people have been receiving value. So it's just a little bit different versus just every time you reach out, you're just like, hey, buy this. Hey, I got a sale. Hey, this is going on. So just keep that in mind, okay? And that's just a suggestion. I know every business does it a little bit differently. That's just the way that I have found success in running mine. So I wanted to share that little tidbit with you. But yeah, as a last thing, I don't think I showed this in the tutorial, but once you build out all of those emails, you hit publish, and then everything is good to go. Make sure you test it out either on yourself or send it to a friend and have them just make sure everything looks good, is clicking, it's working, all of those things. And then you basically go from there to send it out into the world. Promote your opt-in like you promote a paid product. If you need to do a mini launch for your opt-in, do it. The more people on your email list, the better, because it's going to set you up for success when you are ready to launch your product, when you're ready to put yourself out there. And people always ask, when is the right time? The time is now. The time is now to start establishing yourself the way that you want to be seen. If you are an expert at something, it's time to start talking about it. Start posting about it. Start putting yourself out there. Create that opt-in. Put it out there. If no one's signing up, put it out there again. If no one signed up then, put it out there again. Promote it. Share it with friends. Tell them to share the link. You have to be willing to show up for yourself, because in the beginning, it's just you. I know how it is, okay? In the beginning, it is just you. So you have to create the audience. You have to create the opportunities. And then there will come a time where, oh, okay, cool, but utilize those Facebook groups you're in, the communities you're in, the people you know. Whatever the case is, utilize where you are to create the next step for you. That is the biggest piece of advice I can give with this. I know how discouraging it can be when you put a lot of work into something, especially building it all out in Flodesk or whichever platform you choose, and then you're like, okay, no one is signing up for this thing. Like, what is going on? So I just wanted to share that you have to create that opportunity for yourself in the beginning to really get your feet wet. You can't just publish the link and just expect people are just going to find it. You have to put yourself out there. So that is the biggest thing I wanted to close with. Again, a couple reminders. Definitely, if you want to try out Flodesk, I do have that link down below, as well as if you want that email list building checklist, definitely click on that so you can grab yours. And if you made it all the way to this part in the video, if you're here at the end, first of all, I want to say, hey, thank you so much. If you made it to this part of the video, I want you to comment gold, because having an email list is golden, y'all. There's nothing like it. I'm sure you've heard it before, but it's so true. It's just nothing like having a list of people that really care about what you have to say. They're there for a reason. And so I just strongly suggest that if you don't have this on your list of things to prioritize and do for your business, please consider adding it on there, because I promise you it's such a rich tool to have. It's something that I just think a lot of people don't focus on enough, just because social media is out there. But I do really feel like there is nothing like having your own list of people. I will see you all in the next video. Bye.